Hey guys, how are we doing? We're back on another video from Taku, and we are watching the gayest fights in anime. Now, I was talking to my girlfriend about this last night, and I was like, I have no idea what's gonna be in this, but we both agreed there has to be at least one JoJo's fight in this. Just because of the flamboyancy and everything, blah blah blah. And personally, I feel like Hisoka versus Gon needs to be there as well, because it's all sorts of... Anyway, let's see what Nux has to say about... Hey, I don't even know. Like, sometimes the title's completely misleading. Let's go into it.
Yeah, you read the title right.
Oh.
So there's a very niche style anime fight that I want to talk about that I couldn't possibly put into a short enough amount of words exactly how to describe that. So I decided, okay, we're going to be calling them the gayest fights in anime.
Just
but then
fair
I
enough.
realized,
Easy.
I already have a lot of people that hate me. Why am I adding fuel to the fire? So I asked a friend of mine, another YouTuber that I will not name to protect his identity, and I said, bro, can I make a video titled The Gayest Fights in Anime? And first he was like, what? No, that's crazy. People will hate you for it. To which, of course, I'm thinking, yes, that is all part of my great
power
plan. But then
I
when I
feed on your
described to him
hatred.
exactly how I'm using the word gay, not just as a synonym for flamboyant, he was like, yeah, I see absolutely no problem with that. And he said, and I'm one to talk because I'm half gay as is. And I was like, all right.
Fair enough.
He then suggested that instead of titling it The Gayest Fights in Anime, I titled it The Most Homoerotic Fights in Anime, and I was like, alright, get out of here! Today we're talking about the Gon versus Hisokas of the world. Where there's a crazy energy between the two, let's call them bros, that are fighting in the gayest yet least homo possible fight of all time.
It's so
okay?
weird.
And besides, added bonus to this title,
Oh my
people
God.
will hate me for it.
Yay!
Okay, it's been way too long since I pissed off all of Twitter and the social justice warriors tried to cancel me for literally not doing anything wrong. I miss those good old days. God damn, let's just have some fun and talk about the gayest fights in anime.
Alright.
So when I'm referring to these fights, it's a style anime fight that I think kind of goes under the radar for how actually special it is.
Right.
In anime, most of the fights that come to our minds are the massive battles for the sake of the world, or these huge thematic or ideological fights that shapes how we actually regard the entire series.
Mhm.
You know, like the Narutos versus Pains,
Yeah.
the Meruems
Versus Netero.
Neteros,
Oh.
the Ichigos versus
Aizen.
Aizen. But I feel like another style fight that's almost as powerful that people don't talk about are the gayest fights in anime. When there's like a crazy bond between the two characters that are fighting that's not tangible, but it does shape the entirety of their relationship and the story.
So what, like Naruto
So,
Sasuke?
the first and I think simplest example of this is actually Naruto versus Gaara
Oh, okay.
at the end of the Chunin exams in OG Naruto. I feel like this is actually a great fight that no one talks about, not only from a character development standpoint of the side characters, like, for example, how Sasuke begins to feel like he's useless and he's being overshadowed by Naruto. The entire series, he was the freaking badass, Naruto was the #1 knucklehead ninja,
And now it's
that's how it's gonna
reversed
stay.
it.
And slowly but surely, as the Chunin exams progressed, he, despite getting much stronger, he got a curse mark, he got private tutelage from Kakashi, learning the Chidori, so on and so forth, despite all of his studying and increase in power, he was somehow being outshone by this #1 knucklehead ninja. Somehow, this doofus Naruto was able to beat the Gaara that defeated Sasuke, and that hurt terribly. Even though I feel like that's one of the most powerful outcomes of the Naruto versus Gaara battle, no one really talks about how amazing it is that Naruto's the one that beat him from Naruto's thematic perspective. Do you realize the ultimate mirror image that Gaara is to Naruto, but even more importantly that Naruto is to Gaara? The reason why they were able to fight so hard and with so much passion behind all of their blows is because they're looking at a mirror image of who they are themselves. Naruto is someone who grew up alone, who grew up sad, who grew up where everyone despised him because of the tail
And
beast
same
crap
for
within
Gaara.
him. And he managed to grow past that, make friends, become someone he himself is proud of, and manage to beat Gaara.
Where's this going with the whole title of the video?
He also had a tailed beast. This stupid village that he lived in socially excommunicated him from everything. Everyone feared him. This man did not try to make friends. He took a slightly different route. He took a route of power. He's going to become so powerful people respect him for that reason, not because of any bond he shares. And this fight proved that Naruto's way of life was stronger. This is one of the gayest fights in anime.
What?
I love that I titled it that. And I titled it that for no reason. Why did I do it? I'm getting myself in so much trouble for no reason. But anyway, it's worth it, because this is one of the gayest fights in anime, because the bond between Naruto and Gaara, even to the point that their battle became Megazord fights, with the Shukaku versus Gamabunta, with both of them completely exhausted and their chakra reserves gone, lying on the floor. But Naruto had the willpower to, with his chin,
just crawl along the floor.
And I love this scene, because Gaara's on the floor like, no, please, stay away! And Naruto, with his chin, is pulling himself forward. Biggest flexes in anime right here. Straight up. After shoving an exploding kunai up his anus, Gaara did not want Naruto anywhere near him. But Naruto had the willpower to keep pushing forward. It was pretty clear at this point that they had relatively similar levels of chakra after the fight was over, but Naruto had the willpower to push him forward because he viewed Gaara as a wayward version of himself. Gaara was so terrified of Naruto because he found that similar bond. That bond between them that developed through this fight is something really special, and it's something that people don't talk about. Because while character development is great, and character interactions definitely deepen character development, it can create an entire situation where not only are the characters growing by their own right, but they're also deepening their bonds with other characters in a series. People don't really talk about how a fight without words can do the same thing as a long, heartwarming conversation can. It's not always about bonding over booze, and sometimes it's just clobbering each other and seeing yourself and your adversary. I love this fight so much because it created one of the most powerful friendships in Naruto. At the end of the day, Gaara coming to save them on the search for Sasuke, Gaara
that was class. That was cool.
A position that he despised as a child because the Kazekage wanted him dead.
They wanted to kill him.
And even though after this fight, there was pretty much no interaction in the entire Naruto series between Naruto and Gaara, the bond between them was tangible whenever they mentioned each other, whenever they were together, and just by the sheer amounts of respect they showed for one another, it was heartwarming and
it's nice.
More is, this fight emphasizes the fact that it's not just Naruto.
It's one of those things, isn't it? If you've got a true bond with someone, you don't have to see them all the time, but when you do, it's just there. That connection's just like bam. And you do get that with Gaara and Naruto.
The fact that they seem so similar. Yes, their villages despised each of them on an individual level, but at the end of the day, the one person Gaara trusted, his uncle, was sent to assassinate.
Yeah, he betrayed him.
Naruto trusted Iruka Sensei, sacrificed his life literally to save Naruto.
All the way around.
Clear that they could have very easily swapped places. And it's not just Naruto's stronger mindset that put him in a better position, but it was circumstances out of his control, like the unconditional love he received from Iruka Sensei, and then later Kakashi and the other friends he's made through that.
The bonds he made along the way.
Could have turned. I love Naruto versus Gaara, and I couldn't figure out any way to talk about it aside from a specific analysis, which is not really what I wanted to do. So here it is. As the first fight I bring up in the gayest fights in anime. I laugh every time I think of the title. What's wrong with me? But I think at this point it's pretty clear the style fight I'm trying to talk about. And the reason why I love it is not just from a writing standpoint, but it really is true in real life. I'm not saying that, alright, you want to become friends with someone, well, just beat the crap out of them. No, that's not exactly where I'm coming from. But the Naruto versus Gaara fight can teach you that it's circumstances out of our control very often that creates the massive divides between us. Here we had two people who were pretty much the same when it comes to their social circumstances and their mindsets, and it was just due to one father figure in their life that put them on drastically opposed routes that got them to try and kill each other right now. It's so easy to view as a third party looking at the Naruto versus Gaara fight. One of the gayest fights in anime, by the way.
Keep saying that.
It's so much harder to look within and realize that most of the social divides in today's day and age are for similar reasons. Bruh, I'm here to piss off Twitter with this video, okay? I'm not here to make some kind of social commentary point that's nice and wholesome and whatever. But I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to. Most of the people you hate aren't all that different than you are. Most of racism, sexism, or issues that exist are social constructs and should not be real because they're not all that different than you on the inside. You think little social things on the outside should actually make a difference into how you treat other people? Bruh, as Ninja said, that is such a weak mindset. God damn it, this video was supposed
Don't
to
read
be
the rest of the
annoy
tweet.
trigger warriors. It wasn't supposed to ally with them. Damn it! Conflict definitely divides us, very often on a very petty level, when in actuality we're the same in slightly different circumstances, and it's very important to begin to notice that. So, now that I was way too wholesome...
Now we've
sorry.
gotten serious.
The next gayest fight in anime
Here
that I
we
wanted
go.
to talk about is actually from another one of the big three. It's a legendary squabble between Roanoa Zoro, a character that no one understands, versus Hawkeye Dracul Mihawk. This is a fight in the very beginning of One Piece, and it still stands out as one of One Piece's greatest battles ever. We know that Zoro's entire mindset, sorry, I love the ninja meme, in early One Piece is essentially his dream is to become the greatest swordsman in Zawado! And he eventually decides to join Luffy's crew, but you can still see very clearly how his priorities are set up. Priority 1! Greatest swordsman in Zawado! Priority 2! The ultimate first mate of the future Pirate King. And this fight with Dracul Mihawk is when those two things definitely swap. And he begins to respect Luffy more and more, and he begins to realize that his priority is becoming Luffy's sword, and only as a second place. Luffy's sword needs to be the greatest sword in Zawado. So, the reason why I love this fight is because the way it starts off, Dracul Mihawk don't give no craps about anything that's going on. There's this massive ship that can host like 1,000 people, and he just slices it in half from a distance on this tiny little rowboat. No problem! Aight? And Zoro's like, oh damn, there's the best swordsman in the world. Time to take him on.
Let's
I can
go.
do this. Hell yeah, champ.
I'll prove my
But he
worth.
was very, very outmatched. I'm not trying to, like, massive spoiler if you haven't seen One Piece yet. Sucks to be you.
Reading the manga.
One Piece yet. Bible spoilers. Jesus dies. F's in the chat. I'm working on a
Doesn't he?
video
I'm trying to remember. I have it somewhere.
spoiler
Doesn't he ask for a
Friday,
toothpick
so,
before using that
more
little
on that
knife thing?
later. But the reason why this made it onto this very highly esteemed video that will definitely not get any hate at all due to the title alone, even though it's relatively wholesome if you sit around and watch it, is because of how the fight ended. I mean, calling it a fight is kind of giving more credit to Zoro than he even deserves at this point.
It doesn't do anything.
One-sided massacre would even be taking this more lightly than it actually was. Mihawk beat the Mad Lad with, like, a toothpick. You know, really,
No, he asked for a
slicing Zoro
toothpick,
down the
didn't he? He
side,
uses a tiny
taking out his
knife.
3 swords with essentially a butter knife. But when he heard Zoro's actual resolve, when he heard that Zoro had the same dream of becoming the greatest swordsman, kind of like Mihawk himself did, that's when Mihawk actually took him on seriously. And when Zoro said, "You're better than me, I will not run, because scars on the back are a warrior's shame," and the Mad Lad just takes the full-on brunt of Mihawk's attack to his chest, that's when Mihawk has that crazy bonding moment with Zoro. That's why Mihawk is down to train Zoro when they meet up during the time skip. It's in that given moment that even though Mihawk outclasses Zoro literally every possible way when it comes to swordsmanship, it's that spirit that Zoro has that Mihawk was able to relate to, because he too has the spirit that made him want to achieve his dream and become the greatest swordsman. The reason why this fight is so great is because as the fight ends, yes, it's true. Most people are looking at it, man, Mihawk is actually amazing, look how hyped Mihawk is, hell yes, rain money down on One Piece for one of the greatest introductions of all time, only like 30 episodes into the story. But I feel like no one respects it in the way that it has the ultimate bro moment between Zoro and Mihawk. Zoro understands his place. After that fight ends, he goes to Luffy and he swears to him that he will never lose again. And well, I don't want to spoil anything, but he kind of keeps that promise. He fights the Mad Lad. But he swears to Luffy that he'll never lose again for Luffy's sake. That crazy bond moment between Mihawk and Zoro, even though they're in completely different leagues at that time, goes to show that it's not all about the superficial aspect of a swordsman. It's not all about how powerful they are. It saddens me when I see people on YouTube who are friends with some creators and then their channel blows up. Now they have 1 billion subscribers and their former friend only still has 3,000. And then, I could ditch them. We're in different leagues now. Now I could be friends with all the people that also have 1 billion subscribers.
You see, like, this is what I appreciate about Nux. He's still in touch with me, and I was talking to him when he was on his, like, 500,000 subscribers. He's got 1 million, and he invited me onto the Rank Cafe.
You too.
I have
It's not
11,000
you that
subscribers.
can become something great with your own two hands.
And he invited me onto the Rant
Love is
Cafe.
involved, but in the end of the day, it's your hard work and elbow grease that'll make you somebody. It's a kind of level playing field. You could be brought up in the most pompous, rich-ass, annoying lifestyle of all time, but people will hate you and you'll have no respect on this social media. So, that said, ego is something that's extremely prevalent, something like this. So, when I see Zoro versus Mihawk, and I see the massive difference between the two of them, Mihawk perhaps was challenged by hundreds of swordsmen in the past. Anyone that beats him gets this crazy, massive title of the biggest YouTuber! I mean, the greatest swordsman in the world! And I'm sure he's cut down so many of them. But the lingering passion he sees in Zoro is the reason why he ends up respecting him. He ends up respecting him as an equal. Someone not as powerful as him, but someone that shares the same passion and the same heart. That's why this is one of the gayest fights in anime, damn it! They connect on a level past the superficial, and that's so powerful. It's not about who has more internet clout. It's not about who has more money or who has a higher esteemed job. Oh, I'm a doctor. I'm not gonna deal with that lowly plumber. Mutual respect between people should have absolutely nothing to do with the numbers on their side.
Yeah, that's
it
true.
should do with the heart and the soul that they exhibit in their everyday lives.
That's why I
God damn
passed
it, I love anime.
on
Anime tackles some
what
of the
Nux taught
deepest and
me.
most complex problems out there in a
Helping
way that
people,
doesn't at
offering
all
opportunity.
sound condescending.
But
And
Tyler
the way
DOE
that's
had
just so hardcore.
20
And
subscribers
now,
when he
at this
messaged me,
point,
and I
you're probably like, okay,
filmed
I
a
see
little
what
clip
you're saying.
for
I
his
see
video.
why you had
So I remember
no
how hard
idea
it is.
what you were going to title this video. And you also see why I didn't title the video Best Homoerotic Fights in Anime.
Yeah, it was
The
a bit-
energy between these two dudes duking it out is something really, really powerful. And I feel like it's these aspects of anime fights that are never talked about, which is why I had to make this video, which turned out to be wholesome and analytical, aside from the fact that I'm talking about like the most hype freaking fights ever that we all know and love, okay? This is the greatest video of all time! Yes, I'm overhyping it, but I don't care! I get into the groove that any video I work on at any given point in time is like my favorite video ever, just because I put so
Oh,
much
dear.
time into the research and the looking into different aspects of different things. So with that said, please, smash like on this video. Because
Keep your
if I
hands
get
off
50K
Isaac
likes, I will
Hen?
make
I only got
videos
halfway
for
through that. I
Anime
need to
Part
finish
2.
that.
And subscribe for future epic content. That
Oh, damn, we'll do
drop
part 2.
some truth bombs on
Link in the
so
description.
But
Click
I have another
and-
gayest fight in anime
Yeah,
that I would like
click
to
like
talk
that.
about. Well, I have a lot of gayest fights in anime that I would still like to talk about. But I'm afraid this video is going to turn out long because who would have thought the gayest fights in anime take a lot of time to elaborate and analyze. But this time, I'm going to talk about Meliodas versus
Oh
Ban
my
in the
god.
7
Proper
Deadly
bro
Sins.
fight this.
Now, Meliodas and Ban have a couple of bouts throughout the series. First one obviously being right when they meet. They're so eager and excited to stick with each other. They have
Punch
a
each
very
other through
cool
walls and
secret
stuff.
accidentally
They're like
destroys a massive
hand
force
slap
field in a
thing.
prison and all that. Next time they fight is in a tournament arc. The next time they fight, Ban is trying to kill Meliodas because he figured out that the Angel Clan can revive his lost
Oh,
love
yeah,
if
damn.
he takes down Meliodas. So he ends up fighting him, and they have a few more little squabbles. They both have a good time for most of them, unless they're, trying to kill each other. But here's why Meliodas versus Ban is one of the gayest fights in anime, and honestly, I mean all of the Meliodas versus Ban fights. Seven Deadly Sins is a fantastic series because one of the things it does really, really well is that it can take a very superficial seeming story, plot-wise, make the fights also seem pretty superficial.
Yeah.
But there's a much deeper psychological story going on underneath. Every single character in the Seven Deadly Sins has this crazy backstory that gave them
Yeah, they
this
do.
ridiculous emotional trauma that they're carrying with them their entire lives. Ban and Meliodas are two fantastic examples of this, being that Meliodas is trapped in a perpetual curse where his love was killed, and she reincarnates into every generation.
And
as
every
someone
time she
else
remembers,
that
she
must
dies.
watch die. And if she ever learns the truth about her reincarnation, or that Meliodas is who he is,
yeah.
then she'll die in 3 days. It's this perpetual cycle of grief. that
And then he
Meliodas
keeps
has to live
living
through for the
and
past
keeps
3,000
seeing
years,
and keeps
he
reliving.
flushes it all down to just keep up that goofy grin on his face while he goes ahead and rambunctiously gets drunk, has fun, and acts like a pervert, even though he's suffering underneath. And now you have Ban, on the other hand. Ban is someone who fell in love with Elaine. He started off trying to steal the
Oh,
fountain of
mate,
youth,
sad
and when he
backstory,
figured
man.
out that
Sad
would kill this
backstory.
magical forest, he decided, nah, not worth stealing it. Forest's life is worth more. Yeah, that's right. Ban is the most wholesome, greedy bastard on the face of the planet. And just because of the fact that he was fully honest about the fact that he wouldn't steal it since it hurt the forest, Elaine fell for him. She was the guardian of this thing, and he was the first thief to ever not want to steal it when he learned of the repercussions. So, that was a nice, wholesome friendship, and then Demon Guy came, wiped out
yeah,
the forest,
it's so
it sucked,
sad.
and it kind of turned into a situation where Ban and Elaine were both about to die, with the Fountain of Youth glass between them, and Ban gives it to Elaine. He happily sacrifices his life for his love,
But
and
then-
Elaine drinks it, puts it in her mouth, and then kisses Ban,
Ban.
transferring it to Ban's mouth, so Ban can gain immortality, and she dies right in front of him while he can do nothing. Now he lives in this perpetual state of immortality, where he tries his hardest to erase the pain in his heart from losing Elaine by inflicting superficial wounds on him. Sometimes a superficial wound is much less painful than an emotional.
See, that's why they're so upbeat, because they're just trying to hide what they're really feeling.
Love in the beginning of the Seven Deadly Sins. He starts off in a prison, impaled constantly, in ridiculous amounts of pain, and he's laughing the whole time. He's doing everything he could possibly do to take his mind off the emotional pain within
Cover
him.
up what he's really feeling.
Never goes away. Seven Deadly Sins is a story about mental health, and that's the truth of the matter if you really want to look at it through an even slightly critical light, and I've made videos about the Seven Deadly Sins in the past talking about this. But the reason why I want to talk about Ban versus Meliodas so much is because despite the trauma and the pain that they've both gone through their entire immortal lives up until this point, they find a friend in each other.
Yeah.
They start off in their first little battle when they finally meet each other after a long time, 10 years being apart. And their energy is so powerful that they destroy the entire prison encased in a force field.
Yeah, it's like, wait a minute, what's going on? That shouldn't be able to happen. They destroyed it from the inside.
It's all fun and games. They are best friends and someone that they can relate to, even without needing to talk about anything. They have very different ways of fighting this depression that they each have, but since they're both in the same boat, they can actually relate to one another more than anyone else in this current generation. So, when Ban eventually learns that he can revive Elaine by killing Meliodas, he's cast into the ultimate, delirious confusion of his life. And in the beginning, he goes along with it. He realizes that this is the only way to cure his ultimate pain that he's been suffering through for the last hundreds of years, and he fights Meliodas.
And Meliodas understands.
First, and then realizes, bruh, this is my best friend, what the hell am I doing? It's such a powerful moment when Ban realizes this, and then when Ban meets Meliodas the next time, Meliodas has his hand outstretched. He says, bro, you're my best friend, I don't even care what you were trying to do back then. And the duo is back together. There's a scene in the second season of the Seven Deadly Sins that they're fighting side by side, and they end up getting into an argument over whose waifu is better. So while they're arguing with each other who has the better waifu, and they're just like tussling with each other, pushing each other around, they accidentally defeat their opponents without even realizing it. That's how badass
that was
these
class.
are, and how comfortable they feel with each other around. And of course, it all comes full circle in the Purgatory arc, which is currently in the Seven Deadly Sins manga, and is my favorite arc in the entire Seven Deadly Sins, when Meliodas is trapped in literal hell, and Ban lowers himself down there to save him.
Oh,
he
wow.
says, I'm immortal anyway, so I don't care if I have to suffer through all this pain.
Bro.
In Purgatory, every breath you take feels like breathing down glass. No human being has ever survived there for more than a minute due to the sheer pain of it. But because he's immortal, he lives in purgatory for thousands of years until his body is strong enough to fight it off. It's 1,000 years of sheer agony that's worth it for the one moment where he could save his friend. That's why every time Meliodas and Ban get into these lovely fights, and they do a lot. It's not just these few that I've mentioned. Every time they meet each other, they push each other around and have these ultimate bro moments. And that's why Ban and Meliodas are the best no-homo bros in anime.
Damn right, that's class.
Why when Ban and Meliodas fight and you feel that tangible energy in the air that they finally meet someone that they could relate to, that they could appreciate, that's truly their best friend in every possible way. That's one of the gayest fights in anime. We live in a society today, and yes, I mean that in not the meme way, where mental health is a prevalent issue that so many people have. And Ban and Meliodas are so strong, but only once they meet each other. They suffer the entire time, alone, constantly crushing their depression down with other distractions, whether it's running a bar, becoming a magic knight, becoming a massive masochist, or finding any other superficial way to destroy themselves so they don't need to think about the true pain that they're feeling. But it's through the two of them leaning on each other's shoulders that they're able to actually make strides forward. Now, I'm no therapist, I'm no psychologist, I'm not the right person to talk to when it comes to this kind of thing, but having a shoulder to lean on is really important, and just crushing down your inner suffering is definitely not the go-to way to become a healthier individual in the future. It may seem easier at the time than actually talking about your problems and making a close bond, but in the long run, I can say from personal experience, it's much more destructive than you can even think. Again, that's why I really wanted to go ahead and make this video, talk about some anime fights that no one ever respected for actually being as amazing as they were, telling you why they are in fact some of the greatest fights ever, why the gayest fights in anime are something that definitely needed to be talked about. And, well, believe it or not, more work went into this than even the biggest flexes in anime series that I already know is going to get me
Wow,
a decent
that
amount
had a
of views.
serious
That
little
doesn't
turn.
get me hate. So hey, be part of the train that doesn't hate on Nux for wholesome videos and smash like, because 50k likes, Gayest Fights in Anime Part 2 will be on the horizon.
Sweet.
Also, feel free to share this video with a friend if maybe they want a laugh, or they want a life lesson given to them by, the Gayest Fights in Anime. As weird as that sounds. Also, subscribe if you're new. That would be very much appreciated. And even though I have a lot more fights that I actually wanted to talk about, and my script is longer, I didn't want to talk about another one because, yeah, the video would end up like 30 minutes, and it's a very daunting task. If you want to talk about some gay fights, you gotta click on a 30-minute video. So, part 2, on the horizon. Smash like. Link in the description of my Twitch. I try to stream there relatively regularly when my internet isn't dying. I'm still a technological boomer. Link to my Twitter in the description as well. Feel free to follow me there. I actually have a pretty crazy video planned that will involve the use of my Twitch and my Twitter. We're going to need to ask you guys to do things on the spot, and, well, more on that another
Interesting.
time. It's a pretty crazy idea if I do say so myself.
I definitely
Thank you so
recommend
much for
following him on
sticking with
Twitter.
this
It's a
video.
very
The
interesting
title is
and
that,
funny
I'm looking forward
ride.
to the actual content. I just had no idea what to title it. Have yourselves the most wonderful evening, and remember to
Stay weird, fam. That wasn't quite what I was expecting it to be, but it was still a good video. It started off very funny and then it ended on a quite serious note, which I appreciate. It felt like watching a Gayest video. You know, where he does the whole hilarious, and then it's put on a nice note and leaning on a message and thanks for watching kind of thing. That was a cool video, Nux. Nice one. Yeah. Don't know what to say. that was nice. Yeah. Thank you guys very much for watching. What do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of this? Click like, subscribe if you haven't already. Leave comments down below. Let me know what I should watch and discuss in future videos, and I'll see you guys. next time.